So my video yesterday talked about my relationship with external validation and kind of the people-pleasing side of that, but also the good side, right? The idea that external validation can be a bad thing if you put all your weighting onto that and all your sense of like purpose or pleasure or happiness or whatever is based on other people telling you did a good job. That's obviously an extreme and that's bad, but it can also be a check, right? We do want to check our instruments. We do want to get outside input. We don't want to just trust our own, minds all the time. We want to make sure we're questioning and testing that. So input, feedback, validation can be a good thing. The idea is you have to be thoughtful about it. You have to have clarity. You have to have humility and understand where's it coming from. Is it justified? As with most things, right? It's complex. It's nuanced. You want to understand it. So I want to kind of look at that from the other side today too, because I was listening to a podcast about Ray Dalio and kind of his approach and radical candor, which I think is, as with all these things, can be a good thing, but you have to appreciate the nuance to it. So this concept of, hey, I want all the feedback. I want you to tell me exactly what you think at all times. It's an interesting approach. I think if, as an Adam Grant would say, you think like a scientist, that can be really helpful because more input, always better. More data, always better. Assuming you know how to digest it and understand it properly. If you can get your math messed up and you miscalculate and you overweight a certain data point or you misinterpret a certain data point and now you factor that into your thinking, well, then you can have kind of a garbage in, garbage out situation where now what you come out of the other side with isn't actually better. So that's something you have to watch out for. Particularly when it comes to this radical candor though, right? When you're going to other people and you're saying, tell me what you think, I want to hear it all, right? In the same spirit of that, the same way that I don't trust my own mind and my own subconscious, which whenever I say that I have to caveat it a little bit because it's easy for somebody to hear that and be like, oh, you're fucking insane. Like you don't trust your own mind. Well, no, listen, like as with anything, I don't blindly trust anything, even my own mind. You could say, especially my own mind. It's not to say that my thoughts are wrong or that my mind's trying to lead me astray. It's just that it's possible, right? There's so many influences and things that could influence and manipulate the way we think and generate thoughts or beliefs that you have to question and you have to test, even your own mind. So the same way that I do that and I understand my mind could break bad, right? It could generate a thought or a view that when I actually trace it back and kind of get into the mud of it and understand it, there's not much to it or it's based on flawed logic or whatever it might be. The same holds true for other people. So when you tell other people like, hey, radical candor, I want you to tell me whatever you think, you have to understand that you shouldn't necessarily trust their own minds either, right? You've now given their minds a green light. You've given their subconscious a green light and really a powerful set of cognitive outs if they want them, right? If they're feeling bad about themselves, if they feel like something's not going well at work or whatever the situation is or in your relationship, that opening up to say, hey, give me the radical candor, I mean, that's rocket fuel for a subconscious to be like, fuck, I'll take that. All right, let me tell you what I think. I think you screwed this up and I think you did this wrong. Now, here's where it gets nuanced and complex. At a first level, you want to be cognizant and aware and cautious of that. You don't want to just take everything in and assume, it's all true. And that can be dangerous because, again, garbage in, garbage out. If people just have a bone to pick and maybe they don't even realize it, they think they're just being honest, but they haven't really been honest with themselves yet, so they can't be honest with you. So this feedback, this candor they're giving you, it may not be legitimate. So you want to be cognizant of that. But I think a Ray Dalio, as an example, or somebody like that, even that radical candor that maybe isn't coming from a place that is genuine or that person hasn't done the work to really earn the right to say those things yet because they haven't really thought through it, it still can be valuable, right? If you can digest it and interpret it in the right way and say, okay, I see from this person where it's coming from, I shouldn't trust it, implicitly. I shouldn't just believe everything they're saying and take action accordingly. I should treat it with the due nuance it deserves and really break down what are they saying? Why do I think they're saying it? Ask more questions, check with more people, get more validation. Treat it like an input, right? It's like we talk about with the 3 nutrients of receiving information, right? There is a nutrient there in which you learn about that person and you need to understand where is this coming from? What's the motivation? What might be going on in their minds? So I say all this to say, I think that external validation, external criticism and feedback, they are data points. They are input, which is always a good thing if you can treat it with the proper respect and nuance that it deserves. So if it's somebody giving you great positive feedback, you don't want to just blindly accept that and say, I'm fucking amazing and everything's great. If somebody's giving you radical candor and they're giving you lots of harsh feedback, you don't want to just say, well, shit, I guess I need to step up or I need to fix this or do that. Maybe you do. But as with anything else, you want to check the math. You want to really understand what's underneath it and figure out what is actually the big logical feedback or input I should take from this, and then use that moving forward.